Hi everybody, welcome back to another catch-up video. My name is Lori and today I want to talk to you about all of the fun things that are happening in my pen and stationery life. So in today's video, I am going to give you a walkthrough of my Louise Carmen notebook and how it's working for me like 6 weeks after I purchased it. I'm mainly going to focus on my morning pages because that is a ritual that I carried over from a different system. So I'm going to talk about that. Then I'm going to talk about a little mishap that I had with one of my favorite Benu pens and what I did to fix it. I'm also going to do a really exciting unboxing with you today. This is a King of Pen that I ordered from Endless Pens and I'm so excited. I'm going to give you some size comparisons within the Sailor family, and then I will also compare this to some other pens of its size. And then I am going to talk briefly about some new watercolor pencils that I purchased and show you some artwork that I did with it and maybe show you how I'm using them. If that sounds good to you, be sure to stick around. We're going to get started right away. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more from me and hear more about my adventures with fountain pens and other analog treasures. Every once in a while, I try to do these catch-up videos and they're a lot of fun because I get to talk about a variety of things. Okay, let's jump into morning pages with Louise Carmen. If you ever want more detailed information about Louise Carmen stuff, I talk about it pretty much exclusively on my TikTok channel as of right now. I'm starting to integrate a lot more about fountain pens there, but I have a lot of detailed information over there. I also have a few videos here. But what I wanted to talk about mainly today is my switch from using Leutram notebooks to Louise Carmen for my morning pages. I've now written in this for about a month and a half. I got my Louise Carmen journal on June 26th, the day after my 30th anniversary when I was in France. I've been using this ever since. This was a really big switch for me because I'm a huge morning journaler. I call it my morning pages. It's very unofficial. I use that term loosely. My version of morning pages is just kind of getting all my thoughts out from the night before or what's swirling around in my head that day, things I need to get done, just getting it all out on paper. And it kind of is just a way of turning the page on all these thoughts that are in my head. It kind of gives me a fresh start for the new day. My ritual in the morning is while my coffee is brewing, I typically take Lumpy out for his morning walk. We come back, I journal in my morning pages. I get caught up on emails and things like that. And then I kind of go on my way for the day. It's a great way for me to reset myself and put myself in the right frame of mind for the day. So this was a big switch. I think I had filled out 11 Leutram notebooks before I got my Louise Carmen notebook and went to this. So this is my notebook. You can see that I'm still using like different colors each day. That's part of the fun for me, is using different fountain pen inks. I have this very beat up pen case, which of all the pen cases I have, this one just keeps rising to the top as one of my very favorites. It's on Amazon. I think when I got it, it was in the $30 range, $35. It has this slip out tray, which I really love. It holds 12 pens. I just love this. And I keep this next to me in the morning. And I literally just open my case and pull out whichever pen inspires me in that moment. And it's really worked for me. It's a way to keep things interesting. I love exploring with different pens and ink. I always write down which pen I'm using for that particular entry. If I remember, I will write the ink. One of the downsides to the Louise Carmen insert, in my opinion, is that it doesn't always lay flat. If I'm writing on this page, this side can creep up while I'm writing. Sometimes I'll use this flap to hold it down. What I've been using more recently are these incredible clips from Esterbrook, which they released when they released their little niblet. It's been so fantastic. I'm a big fan of the Traveler's Notebook clips, but they are a little heavier and a little bulkier. And this just seems to be the Goldilocks of clips for me. It's just right in size. So what I'll do is I will just clip one side that I'm not working on, and it's just enough weight to make that side just very naturally fall, and it just makes the writing experience so much better. The spacing in the Louise Carmen notebook, this is the dot grid page, is much smaller than the Leutram notebook, or sometimes in the Leutram I would just use blank pages. They just seem to be bigger, or I would just write bigger in that space. And because these inserts are hard to get, I don't want to pay for shipping from France again. So I also have the moleskin inserts in here. But what I've been doing is just one page per entry per day. So you can see how the colors change. It's just one per day. And that's really worked out for me. I don't think I'm going to repurchase this notebook when it's full. So I need to think of another plan. I do like having the slimmer profile notebook in here. This has 62 pages in it, so that should last me 2 months per book if I just continue to do the 1 page per entry, which seems to be the direction I'm going in. But I really didn't skip a beat. I've enjoyed being in this notebook. And what I do right after I do my morning page entry is I flip to my to-do list. This is in the moleskin. I can't think of the word right now. It starts with a C. I'll write it here on the screen for you. I've just been doing my to-do list over here. So once I kind of do my brain dump and my morning pages, I shift gears. If time is important for the day, like today, I need to head back into Boston at the end of the day, so I need to get these things done in a timely fashion. I will write the timestamps next to it. Then when I finish it, I do a check mark when it's accomplished. If it's not done, I put a little O, and that means I need to carry it down to the next one. So yesterday, this was my checklist on Monday. 2 things I didn't get done was my farmer's dog ad and shipping. So that got brought down to today. This is just kind of my doodle notebook, but it ends up being like a to-do notebook as well. I love having it in this modular system. This is really working for me. This is something I just ordered that I'm pretty excited about. I'll show you how it looks in my notebook. I'm getting warm in here. I ordered this paper on Amazon in place of a sticker release notebook. So I love the sticker release notebook from Traveler's Notebook, but it's more narrow. And I've had a really hard time finding any sort of an insert that would fit in my Louise Carmen. So I decided to order these sticker release pages, and it was really inexpensive. I got a thick stack of these individual sheets, and I just took like 3 or 4 sheets, and I did my own little trifold like my Louise Carmen. And then this is one of my thank you labels that I typically put my Lori's Boston Found logo on here. And I just took a blank one and then I stuck it right here. I do the Lori's Boston Found when I ship out my thrifted items. I thought this was a real simple customization for Louise Carmen. And this is like an A5 slim size. You can make it a little bit wider. If you want to do an A5, you can just fold it in half. You can cut it however you want. Because currently right now I have all my stickers just thrown in this pocket. When I open it up, it just slides right into one of the elastics. The pages are a little bit flimsy. They're not as sturdy as the Traveler's Company. But if you really wanted to get a little bit more crafty, you could definitely like maybe attach it to cardstock. You could do whatever you want, but I think it's really functional inside as one of my inserts in my notebook. So I've been really loving my Louise Carmen notebook, and I just wanted to give you a little update on how things are going with my morning pages. I will continue to be in this style notebook, although I don't think I'm going to repurchase the Louise Carmen notebook. I will probably end up going with the moleskin. Okay, so next up, really briefly, I'm going to talk about my poor Benu Euphoria in Earl Grey that broke. I showed on Instagram how this had fallen off of my couch in Boston. I was not home when it happened. This was reported to me. I'm making a mess already. This fell off the couch and it broke right beneath this section here. Like it just cracked right off, broke in half, and then this did a nosedive, hit the hardwood floor. From there, I used this epoxy Gorilla Glue. This was shipped overnight from Amazon for $5.99. I've never used epoxy. You actually mix 2 sides on like a little tray. And then I used very little, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see. If you watch Juicy Broad's live pen show, I talked about this in the show, but I was able to repair it. You can see where the epoxy is. I wasn't like 1,000% perfect with where I put the glue. You might be able to see where the break was. And I just put it back together. I let it sit overnight, and it's strong now. So I'm really excited that I was able to resuscitate this pen. And then my friend Alexandra from Alexandra Art Insanity clued me in that Gold Spot carries replacement nibs for Benu, which is a Schmidt steel nib, and I love their nibs, but it's specific to Benu on their website for $27. I've always loved this pen, but the thought of it being broken and not being able to use it was devastating. So I was so excited when I was able to resuscitate it. On the Juicy Broads, everybody was saying how this is like a Fude nib now, and what's crazy is it actually writes. So I'm gonna just, if I do this, you can hear how scratchy it is. It's very scratchy, but it still writes, which is crazy. So yeah, I could save it and maybe the next time I'm with a Nibmeister, they can kind of turn it into something fun. But I'm so happy that this lived to see another day and that epoxy worked great. So if you ever break one of your pens, fear not, you can bring it back to life. I'm really happy to have this, especially like coming up to fall season. I just love the colors in here. And I counted, I think I have 7 or 8 Benu Euphorias. I clearly have a type. I love this pen. Since I have the camera right here, I'm going to save the unboxing for last because I'm gonna have to move the camera to overhead. So I wanna talk briefly about these Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer watercolor pencils. I've been really exploring watercolors lately. I haven't recorded a lot of content because I'm definitely in the exploration phase. Not that I'm trying to not share, but I find that when I'm painting, it's just not a time when I want to turn on the camera. I really just want to unwind. So it's been really nice. But I've also noticed that I struggle with like a little travel palette or just being on the go or finding an opportunity to paint. I discovered watercolor pencils, which is basically a colored pencil that is activated by water. It transitions so beautifully into a beautiful watercolor painting, but you have a lot more control when you're using a pencil. You can also use them in tandem. You can do a little bit with your watercolor paints and you can, maybe do some accenting with pencils. Maybe you have a limited palette for your watercolors and you just take maybe 4 colors with you on the go and a couple brushes. Then you can take a handful of pencils with you too, with colors that aren't in your watercolor palette. And it's just really, really fun. So I had been eyeing these for a while and they were on Amazon for whatever the price was. And I noticed that at Blick Art Supply store, they were less expensive. And then I realized that there was a Blick art store across the street from Fenway Park, which is about a 12-minute walk from my condo in Boston. When I signed up for their emails, I got a coupon. It was already cheaper in store. It was cheaper than Amazon. And then I got money off with the coupon. So I rallied at the end of the day. I'm like, they close in an hour. I'm heading over there and getting these watercolor pencils. So I'm the proud owner of this beautiful set that has 120 colored pencils. Now, I love that I have the complete set. I think it's completely unnecessary that I got so many pencils, and I've watched so many videos after the fact that just said you really don't need 120, and take it from me, you really don't need all 120. But I want to say that the 60-piece set was like around $100, and then this 120-piece set was like $150 roughly, and then I ended up getting it it was like $135 with tax, and I bought something else at Blick Art with the little coupon that I had. For the extra $35, I'm like, I might as well get the whole set because I don't want to regret not having certain ones. You can buy this in open stock. And I did the math, and if I were to buy these pencils individually as open stock at Blick, it would cost $340. So I'm like, I'm just gonna bite the bullet and just get them all right now. Kind of unnecessary because like when I opened it up and I saw the set, which is so beautiful, it has 3 trays like this. And I so don't want to mess up my trays, but like I don't need this many shades of yellow or this many shades of red, if I'm being honest, because you can blend these colors. That's what watercolors are all about. But I'm having so much fun. That's the first tray. Here is the second tray. And I started to swatch all these. I've swatched the first and second tray completely, and I'll show you that. And the third tray, I have not yet swatched. But it's a beautiful tin case. I did a lot of research before purchasing these. There are other brands, but the Faber-Castell, it was a familiar brand to me. And they have the same colors as the pigments that you buy in watercolor palettes. So I'm not gonna get into a ton of detail about these, but it was just so much fun to add this to my collection. I've mentioned already that I'm going to Italy in September, and I'm going to go to the A Gallo studio in Assisi, and I'm so excited. I knew I wanted to invest in A Gallo watercolors, and we are doing a little heritage tour and visiting some of the cities where our families are from. And Assisi happens to be within an hour or two of some of the places that we were already going to. So we're literally driving through Assisi on our way to our next stop. We're going to be in Venice. We're going to be in Florence. We're going to Rome. I've never been to Rome before, so I'm so excited for this trip, and I'm so excited to stop at A Gallo. So let me know if you'd like me to share more content about watercolors watercolors. I'm so inexperienced. I almost feel like it's a bit of a disservice because there are so many phenomenal artists out there who work with watercolors, but maybe you might want to see it from a total amateur point of view. Let me know. I have been loving my new Louise Carmen in the Magnum size, just to show you the difference between, this is the medium, this is the Magnum. I did the camel insert, really pretty. But what I want to show you in here is my swatch samples. I bought this on Amazon and it was cheaper at Blick, but this is Strathmore watercolor, 48 pages. I researched this before getting my Magnum because I wanted it to fit in here. I think it's like an A4 size that fits in the Magnum. I'm using this as my watercolor journal. In the middle, it says Faber-Castell. I kind of wish I didn't do that because I don't think I'm gonna fit the entire third tray on this one page, which is really annoying to me. I might even erase the Faber-Castell and go in here with some of the other colors just to fit every color on that page. And then last night before bed, I was gonna do more swatching and I'm like, I just wanna do something artsy. I don't wanna swatch, I wanna like draw. So I took out my pencils and I was listening to a book on audio, Back Bay, that I'm listening to. And I just started to draw. I have a Pinterest board with watercolor inspiration. And I saw this little botanical, so I drew this with my pencils. So you'll notice that nothing is blended yet. I just did the drawing and left a lot of white space so that I could blend, and I mixed colors. Like this is like a green, mossy green pencil. And I think I have 3 different colors with this floral. And the original artist was Sharon Stevens design, 2018. I wrote down where I got it. And then over here on the side with my fountain pen, I wrote down which pencil I used and what the number was, and then I did a little sample. So what I thought would be fun to do with you today, after I do my unboxing, if you're still here for this very long video, I thought I would just go over this with some water and show you how it activates. It's going to be new to me too. Like, I don't know if I did my lines too thick. I don't know if it's going to be a mess, but I figured we could explore that together. Let's flip the camera. I'll show you my King of Pen unboxing. We'll do some quick comparisons, do a quick writing sample, and then we'll end with some relaxing painting. When we went to Madrid to see Angelina and Rocco back in April, we were checking into our flight for our return flight home, and we were bumped from our flight. We had paid for seats. When we checked in, they said that they had overbooked another flight, so they put a bunch of people onto our flight, and because we hadn't done like the pre-check-in, they bumped us to standby. It was infuriating, but they ended up giving us a gift card, like a Visa card basically, good for 6 months. We're 4 months in. I've misplaced that card a couple times. You need a PIN number to activate it. I'm like, I have to use this before I lose it, and it's like cash. If you lose it, it's gone. That is how I got this King of Pen. I think it's called the Dreamy Hour. Endless Pen had this for over $200 less than most vendors, or maybe around $200. And in addition to that, they had like one of their hidden gems that it was 10% off. Plus they had their Star Spangled sale for like 20 or 25% off. So it was by far the least expensive price that I could find online. And in addition to that, Sailor has gone and lost their mind. Their prices are through the roof right now. And I know once all the tariffs continue to kick in, it's going to get even worse. So I just thought I'm going to get this now before these prices increase anymore. I was very, very torn between this one and the Kisan, which I've been eyeing for literally over a year. It was the 2023 one, and Endless also had that on pre-order, and it was a little less money, but it ended up being not a crazy amount of difference with all of the sales. So I went for this one because I really love the color scheme on this. So that's the background. Here we go. I'm so excited. I have quite a Sailor collection. I do have a video with all of my Sailors, and I will show you how this compares to other Sailors. But let's check it out together. I'm so excited. This box is chunky. Ooh, okay. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. I have to put my glasses on. Okay. Ooh, I'm nervous for this one. I have been looking at King of Pens for so long. And I didn't want to get just a basic black. I just really wanted a beautiful feminine one that I would want to reach for all the time. I have so many black pens. Oh my gosh, what do we think? It's so beautiful. I love the sparkles. The thing that got me about this, and I don't think I would have purchased it otherwise, is the vanilla, the accent here, and it's also in the grip section. Oh, this is a chunky pen. Oh my gosh, this is magnificent. I just loved how these colors went together. Yeah, like I think if this were another bright color or something, I wouldn't have been so drawn to it, but this is just gorgeous. Oh my goodness. For those of you who may not know, these are cartridge converter fills, which some people criticize because for what you pay for Sailor King of Pens, a lot of people think it should be a piston fill. I, however, have plenty of pistons, and I think that cartridge converters are just so easy. Sailor does not make my favorite converter, as here we go. Here, let me see if I can get this out even. Okay, I guess it screws. Let's see. No, see how that comes right off? I do not like their converters. Okay, I have to do it this way. Okay, now I will screw this back on. Not a huge fan of these converters. And for this giant pen, it's not a ton of ink capacity. I've watched a few videos and I think this extra metal material here is by design because this is just like a very lightweight resin, but it's such a beefy pen. I don't know if this has been added to add some weight to it. If you know, let us know in the comments. Like I will show you on a Pro Gear, when you open it up, there's not quite so much metal on the Pro Gear. Same, oh gosh, I'm gonna make a mess. See the difference? So I think that that extra metal is included so that it just gives this pen a little more weight. Did I just drop that on there? I think I may have. I don't want to make a mess of this. This is from Fountain Pendulum, this little pen rest, and I love it. It's just so minimal and gorgeous, and it goes with everything. So here are all the parts. I am going to use this ink, Purple Dreams. I almost bought new ink for this, and I'm really trying to just use what I have. So this was the official ink for the Orlando Pen Show in 2023. So I'm going to see how that works with this pen. Let me fill this up with ink. We will do a writing sample, and then I will do some size comparisons for you. So this is a 21 karat gold nib. It comes in a medium or broad nib. It's all that they offer the King of Pen in. So I got the medium. Plastic feed, would prefer ebonite. Sailor is just known for their quality. The plastic feed works just fine, but I do love ebonite feeds. I do prefer a bi-colored nib if I had my choice. However, I just thought this was such a beautiful pen that I didn't mind. And a lot of my nibs of this size are bi-colored, so I thought it would be nice to have something a little different. And I'm going to sit down, so my voice is going to sound a little bit different because I'm going to be coming at you from a different angle. Oh, wow, so pretty. Oh my goodness. Wow. Beautiful. It's really incredible. This is really phenomenal. So that's the downstroke. You can definitely see some bounce and movement in this nib. It's very comfortable. Oh, I just love it. I'm way up here now, so let's just see. You can hear a little bit of that Sailor feedback. Let's compare some sizes. I am so thrilled with this. Here is the King of Pen. Next in the lineup, I think from a size standpoint, would be the Realo. This is the Sailor Realo, which I love. I don't give this enough airtime. This pen is fantastic. This has an extra fine nib, and it's so juicy for an extra fine, but like still such a fine nib. It's amazing. And it's got an ink window. I love that with ox blood. Here's my beautiful Hachimonjia, beautiful pen that I bought at Stationery Fest. So beautiful. That is in the Pro Gear size. Oh, I should also mention, I'm sure most people already know this, but in case you don't, this is the Pro Gear style with the flat top. The 1911 style is the cigar shape. I definitely favor the Pro Gear style, which is why I was holding out for this style in my King of Pen. It's also the same in the Kisan Moroccan tea. It's also a Pro Gear. And then next in the lineup, I brought in this 1911 style in the smaller size. This is the Sailor 5th year, the Shikiori 5-year anniversary pen. So that is actually a little bit taller, but it's not as wide. It's not as thick as the Sailor Pro Gear. And then I have the Pro Gear Slim. This is Winter Rain. This is a beauty. I love this pen. Last but not least is the Sailor Pro Gear Mini. I bought this when I was in Tokyo at Maruzan, the bookstore. So that is the lineup. That's not gonna fall where we want it, but there we go as far as sizes go. Here, let's turn these. Boom, we'll go like this. So within the Sailor line, here is the lineup. Mini, Pro Gear Slim, Pro Gear, 1911, Realo, and King of Pen. So it's a real big jump up. So let's show you the nib between this one and the King of Pen. So that is the nib difference. We have the Mini, we have the Pro Gear, and the King of Pen. All incredible writers. So you know what I'm curious about? I'm curious if the Pro Gear Slim and the Pro Gear Slim Mini have the same nib. Yeah, that looks like the same size. So the Pro Gear nib is slightly bigger, but these two are the same. Okay, good to know. I love this little Mini. So great for travel. So that is the comparison with other Sailor pens. Now let me show you some comparisons with like the big Kahuna pens. Here's the King of Pen. This is my Iris Garden Homo Sapien from Visconti. This is the M1000 from Pelican in Renaissance Brown. This is a Leonardo Momento Zero Grande in Sand, a Scribo Feel in Dandy, and of course the Mont Blanc 149. So these are all very large pens, and I thought it would be worth seeing them side by side. So I'm going to uncap all of these, and then you can see how they compare. Okay, here is another look, and I would not have expected this, but this is by far the shortest of them all. Very interesting. My Momento Zero Grande is the tallest of the bunch, followed by my Pelican M1000. I think I assumed that this would be more in line with the size of my Mont Blanc 149. And I think like from a little girthy standpoint, they're very similar. I think I would say the King of Pen is a little chunkier than the 149, which is crazy because the 149 is pretty chunky. But yeah, this is definitely a thick girl. So here's a comparison of the big nibs. These are the big ones. So Pelican M1000, King of Pen, Mont Blanc 149. Which is your favorite? In an upcoming video, I am going to do a battle of the flagship pens. These three will be involved. I also have the Platinum Izumo. I'll have the Homo Sapien. And let me know if you want me to include any other pens in that category. But when I think of the big nibs, these are the three I think of. Obviously, Namiki also. I don't know that I'll ever own a Namiki because it's just so big. Oh, I also have my Tasha pen, which is beautiful. I can bring that out just to show comparison. That nib is not as large as any of these three. We'll talk more about the writing experience comparison in another video, but I just thought it was very helpful to show what this looked like next to some other pens. And I will grab the Tasha pen also to show you. So here's the Tasha. And here's my Jane Austen. Since these are all like my biggest pens, you know, we'll just show them all here. And there you have it. These are some of my most precious pens in my entire collection. Oh my gosh, I feel very lucky when I look at this lineup. I love all of these pens here. This is smaller, but very mighty. I loved the writing experience, and I think it's just a fantastic addition to my collection. From a nib aspect or just a writing experience, let me know which in this lineup might be your favorite. And if you have the King of Pen and you've had it for a while, let me know your thoughts on it. I'm so excited to journal with this and report back on how it's doing. I actually personally love that it's a cartridge converter, because this is piston, 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 vac, piston, cartridge, piston. So I have plenty of piston fill, so I'm happy that this is a little bit unique in that way. Okay, let's do some watercolor. Okay, so hopefully you can see okay. I'm shifting gears now. I love to thrift little ceramic things for my watercolor, so that's what I have my water in. I have one little water brush, and then I just have these small brushes. Again, I am just getting into this. These are both from Kremer, George Kremer. I got these in New York City when I bought watercolors at that pigment store, which was really cool. I think I got these on AliExpress. But anyways, I think this is the guy right here we're going to use for a lot of detail. And then I also have this water brush. So we'll see how things go. I just want to blend these together mostly. Should we turn this light on and see? Is that better? All right, let's see, that might be better for you. Okay, so let's start with this. This was the first one that I painted last night, and this is dark indigo. I definitely want to use my brush very lightly here. I kind of think I may have done my stems a little too dark. I don't know if I should speed this up for you too, watching it back. This could have definitely been thinner. I'm curious how they're gonna blend. And I left a lot of this white here. I've just had so much fun exploring with watercolor. And I really do love botanicals, so I definitely think that I will continue with florals and such. Okay, let's activate some of these. And I purposely want to go from the tips in and then, you know, leave that center nice and light. You can see how it blends really nicely. I'll do a few and then maybe I will speed this up. Otherwise, this video is going to go on for days. I do not have the gift of to the point. Okay. Now I feel like had I been painting while I was drawing, I may have used even less here. But it's still blending really nicely, and I think it will give a really nice effect. The thing that's nice about these pencils, I think, is that even if I didn't blend them with watercolor, with water, I feel like you can still do some nice artwork with just the pencil. It's definitely granular, but I still was pleased with like how this looked before I added any water. And it's just so relaxing to paint for me. I've been listening to a lot of books on audio, and it's so nice to just zone out and paint and listen. So this particular one, I did monochromatic. I just did all the dark indigo. This was the first branch that I drew, and then as I moved on to some of the other ones, you'll see that I mixed some colors in on purpose, mostly just to test and see. My water's pretty far here. just to see how it would come out. So this, I started with this one because this one's quite predictable because it's all one color. I think on this one too, I didn't draw any of the veins, or very few. It's so pretty. One of the things I was struggling with watercolors and sketchbooks and everything is that I so desperately wanted to use my fountain pens for everything because I've made such an investment in my fountain pens. Like, so for example, with sketching, I wanted to sketch with my fountain pens and I just wasn't doing it. So finally I just sketched with a pencil and I really enjoyed it. And then I can go back in and do like little accents with my fountain pens. Like on here, I did all of my writing, little things here with my fountain pen, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm trying to force things just to use my fountain pens, but I use them every day for journaling, so I don't really need to use them for my art as well. But some people do incredible artwork with their fountain pens, and I just don't know if I'm one of those people. Okay, so that first one is done. All right, I think that's it for today. We got a nice variety of items and I'm excited that I have like my first official watercolor painting in here. I'll finish my swatches another time. Okay, that's it. The marathon video has come to an end. I'm happy that I finished my first little painting in my watercolor sketchbook. Let me know if you have any questions about the multitude of things I discussed today. Thank you so much for sticking around. Be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.